You know, there's a great Lenin quote out there, and I know Vladimir Lenin was a monster. There's no question about that, but he was a monster who understood that education is everything. And I say that as an uneducated person, right? I say that as somebody who, I don't even have an associate's degree. But education might not be the word I'm looking for. Training is probably the word I'm looking for. Lenin's quote was, "Give me 4 years to teach the children, and the seed I have sown will never be uprooted." Have you ever seen poll numbers in the country as far as how people vote, which way? Ever seen that? It's fascinating. But there is one number that is eye-popping. It was talked about a lot in the lead up to the Trump-Joe Biden election. If you go to a university and graduate from a university, you are overwhelmingly communist. It's not universal, so don't email me. I graduated, and I'm not interested. I don't care. The numbers are staggering. If you stop after high school, you're probably on the right. If you go to a university for 4 years, communist. Why? Well, people are trainable. We all are. You are. I am. Who you are today, whether you're 5 watching me now or 95 watching me now, who you are today is in large part a result of the training you received throughout your life, from your parents, from your teachers, from your coach, from your work, from your wherever. Human beings are trainable. And here in the United States of America, the communists, they've been working on us for a very long time. And you should know, before we get into, the videos and things like that and wonderful guests in the show, you should understand that this was done on purpose. Always remember that. It was not an accidental thing. The communists didn't trip and fall and start educating our kids. The Soviet Union, this is in the early 1900s, they were trying to get communism into America. They could not get a foothold. They kept trying and it would fail, and they'd get a little foothold here and it would fail. But they just kept failing and failing and failing. And they just started pulling their hair out. Why can we not get through? And then they came up with this answer. The American worker is not like the worker in Russia. The American worker is happy. Generally, I realize that we all have complaints about our job, but the American worker is happy. He's provided for. He has a home, 3 hots and a cot, a family. The American worker is not an angry revolutionary wanting to burn the system down. Well, if you're a communist, you don't let that stop your plans of destruction. So what to do? Well, they decided, hey, why don't we just start teaching them? Instead of trying to whip up a frenzy in the streets and riots and our normal communist things, why don't we just slowly but surely work our way into the American education system? And instead of protesting and rioting our way to a communist revolution, we'll simply educate generation after generation after generation of Americans to hate themselves, hate their country, hate their parents, hate their values. And that's why today your children go to school, and in history class, they learn that America is the genocide of Native Americans, slavery, of course, that's always in there. Then they'll skip right to the civil rights movement and, oh, too bad, so sad, history class is over. That's the history of your country. Why is this taught in school? Because the purpose of our education system, our government education system today, is in large part to destroy the minds, to poison the minds of young people against their own country. And it was done on purpose. That's why you have a country full of teachers like this.
So at the start of a semester, I ask my students for their pronouns, a reminder that they are not preferred, but they are the pronouns that we should be addressing them by. And I also ask them to tell me if I can use their pronouns in front of the class, in front of other teachers, and when I call home, because everyone is in a different part of their journey, and we need to be able to respect that.
I've been doing some reading this summer, and so I thought I would share a couple of books because you have a little bit of time left to do some reading. I also read Jack, Not Jackie by Erica Silverman. Phenomenal read. So if you're a K1, 2, 3 even, it's a really good read called Jack, Not Jackie. And I really enjoyed that, and I'm excited it'll be on our shelves in the media center this fall.
All right, we have to talk about this right-wing idea of parents' rights. It's literally just fascism.
So this question says, what do your students call you since you're non-binary? Miko's one of my students. What do you call me, Miko?
They, them.
That's my pronouns, but what do you call me as your teacher?
Teacher Roby.
So you know my pronouns are they, them. You know that you go by, or I go by Teacher Roby. What are your pronouns?
She, her.
I want to talk about that teacher who said parents' rights is fascism. It was an interesting line. Parents' rights are fascism. Because they say these kinds of things a lot, as if your children belong to them.
The children are always ours, every single one of them, all over the globe. And I am beginning to suspect that whoever is incapable of recognizing this may be incapable of morality. From Gaza to Little Village to Altgeld and all over the country, the children are all ours, every single one of them, and it is our duty to fight for them.
I'm going to say something I've said to you before, but I'm going to keep saying it because it's hard to accept. It's hard to hear, but it is true. There is a very good chance there is a teacher or several in your child's school, no matter where you send them, public or private, who is a predator trying to break your child away from you, break their morality, break their patriotism, break their spirit. These people with that mentality, the children belong to us, they are everywhere in our communist education system, and that is Communism 101. Grab the children. They belong to us. They belong to the state. They don't belong to the parents. We must grab them and make them our children, children of the state. And of course, you understand the reason behind all of this. There's a reason they've tried to break up the nuclear family. There's a reason they go after the children who are taught values by their parents, who hold on to those values, patriotic values, good values. They are impenetrable to the communists. But if you can break a child away from mom and dad, shatter that connection. Hey, you don't have to tell mom. Hey, you belong to me. Well, then you can implement communism anywhere you want to implement it. They're predators. I know they just look like some fruitcake lesbian in the social studies class. I understand all that. They are predators after your child. And before I move on and play this communist John Denver, and we talk to other guests and things like that, if there's a Black Lives Matter flag in your child's classroom, that's a predator. If there's a rainbow flag, that's a predator. Any communist indication in the class, that is a teacher who every single day is trying to shatter your child. Get them out, all right? Communist John Denver wasn't lying.
Voting is still our best defense against tyranny and fascism. When the history books are written about this moment, let them record that we the people united, mobilized, and voted down this existential threat to democracy and freedom, that we continued the march for progress, that we laid the foundation for a better future, and that we sought to create a more perfect union. Progress is possible. Keep marching.
Keep marching, 'cause your ancestors.
America's teachers' unions, many of America's teachers, they see themselves as soldiers. Soldiers running, not schools, a boot camp. A boot camp you send your child to every day. Be ever vigilant in this fight, because I promise you, they are not tired just because Donald Trump won an election. All that may have made you uncomfortable, but I am right. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're gonna start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.